Welcome, folks. This is Aaron Como, your host tonight with Pemmy Baker TV. We're going to bring you some action tonight from Plymouth Regional High School. We got a ton of wrestling tonight for you. It's kind of a special event here at Plymouth High School. It's our senior night. We're going to recognize some seniors. And before we get to the varsity, though, we're going to bring you some matches from the Park and Recs division and some middle school matches here. I'll take a moment just to talk about those two programs. If you have a child that's K through 4 that wants to wrestle, we have a great Park and Rec program. Every Thursday night they can come to the high school, and the varsity wrestling program, basically the wrestlers themselves are the coaches, and they give these children instructions on wrestling technique, and they get to wrestle here in the gym, at least once a week, and it's a lot of fun. And if you're really into it, your child has the opportunity to go wrestle in some other youth tournaments around the state. It's a great program here at Plymouth that they offer through the Park and Recs department. And additionally, our middle school program is actually an SAU wrestling program. If your child attends any of the SAU schools here in SAU 48, 5th through 8th, they are eligible to come in and participate in the middle school wrestling program. Our wrestling program is coached by Coach Stu, Coach Lonnie, both former Timberlane wrestling standouts, which if you're not familiar with wrestling in the state of New Hampshire, Timberlane is probably your premier program. Both wrestlers wrestled for Timberlane High School, both coaches, I should say, and both attended Plymouth State University, and they're up here now coaching our middle school program, and they do a fantastic job. And, we're really, really lucky to have them, and we want to keep them around. We're going to have some matchups tonight between Plymouth and ConVal, and then Plymouth and White Mountains. And then, as you can see out here on the mat now, that's a White Mountain wrestler versus a ConVal wrestler. And I think now the score is 4-0 here. And that's a beautiful pancake right there by the ConVal wrestler, but he's not able to secure the back points there. We're going to be wrestling 1-1-1 periods here in the middle school. And then in addition, every 4 matches or so, we're going to bring a handful of our K through 4 wrestlers out on the mat, and you're going to be able to watch them wrestle and roll around with each other, and it's a lot of fun. And like I said before, it's a great program to get your child involved. Being a former wrestler myself, I'm a little partial to the sport. Having wrestled and my oldest son wrestled for Plymouth High School, and now my youngest son is a current wrestler. I think that of all sports that I participated in as a child growing up, this is probably the sport that taught me the most about discipline and hard work, and it's a real character builder. Dan Gable, probably the greatest wrestler of all time, said, once you've wrestled, everything in life is easy. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, because, it's a sport where you walk out in the middle of this mat, this circle, and you face an opponent that is presumably the same age, roughly the same weight, most of the time the same experience, but not always. And, basically it's a fight with some rules. And, the other part about this sport that is hard is that you're in front of your peers, and it's a one-on-one sport. And obviously facing that kind of adversity in front of your peers or losing is not always fun. Now we're going to bring out the Park and Rec kids, K through 4. I think they've already got them matched up. They're going to have, I believe, 8 matches going on at the same time out here on the mat, and the high school wrestlers will all be the referees and the corrallers to make sure they don't go into somebody else's space or fall off the mat or anything like that. And again, the Park and Recs department wrestles every Thursday night here at the high school in the varsity wrestling room. If you're interested, I urge you to reach out to Plymouth area Parks and Rec and have your child sign up. It's not too late. We'll take them, and obviously there is a fee associated with it, but don't let that discourage you. We will not turn any child away that wants to come out and participate in any youth sports here in Plymouth, let alone wrestling. So we're set to go to action here. It looks like we've got 8 matches out there, and I would particularly probably pay close attention to the one in the middle. These two young boys here are brothers, both twins. They've wrestled for a couple of years. I believe they're from Bridgewater. And I think you'll probably see a lot of action out of those two right there. They've been around a little while, and they love this sport. And we're going to be happy to have them someday, I can tell you that. We're going to do 30-second periods here. 3 periods of 30 seconds. And as you can see, the two brothers in the middle, they're rambunctious getting after each other. And you definitely you don't want to lose to your brother ever. And I can only imagine how many matches they wrestle at home every single day. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That brings the end of the first 30-second period, and as you can see, they really get after it out there. Some of these kids are serious about this, and their parents are serious about it, and they do a little extra on the side and go to these tournaments that I spoke about earlier. It's no, it's a great program, and they get a lot of great instruction. And the thing about wrestling is it builds a lot of character, like I said, and especially at this age, a lot of discipline. And, it's hard to keep these kids focused in sports today, especially slower ones. And this is definitely not a slow sport, and I would encourage you to, if you have a child with a little bit too much energy, this is the sport for them right here. It's going to be the end of the second period here. Difficult to tell the scores of any of these matches, but I can see that there's a lot of fun being had, that's for sure. The start of the third, and one man's down, one man's up. Here goes the action again. I see a nice reversal off here to the left. It was a beautiful switch. And there was a double leg there by one of the brothers in the middle. He lets him up, though. He gives him the 1 point, and he's going to give out a take. Gives down a takedown and goes to his back for near fall. Coming to the end of the third here, folks. And that's it. That was your first round of K through 4 wrestling here tonight. We're going to have a few more of those matches, but we're going to move on to the middle school now. And next up for Plymouth is Aiden Partridge, and he'll be going against Victor Willie from White Mountains. Aiden's, I believe, is a 5th grader, about 98 pounds, first-year wrestler, super competitive individual. Talking to his coaches earlier, they expect a lot of great things out of him in the future. The sport has really grown on him this year. He's won some really good matches. Like I said, they're going to expect an awful lot out of him moving forward. Coaches, said he always has a great attitude. He's high spirits. He won his first match over Mascoma. He's placed 3rd at the PJ Sora Londonderry tournament and 4th at Rundlet. And he's in on a takedown there. Takes Willie right to his back. And it looks like if he can squeeze this off, he might get a pin, early first period pin here. No. Whistle's blown there. He didn't have the arm, so they're going to call it potentially dangerous and illegal headlock. In order to headlock your opponent, you have to have an arm as well as the head, and he didn't. But he still secures the takedown and 3 back points. The match is 5-1. He works a nice breakdown there. Coaches are teaching him that power half, and he sinks it in deep, and he needs to settle his chest back a little bit. If he can settle back just a little bit, he's going to get the pin here. He's got 20 seconds, plenty of time on the clock. Aiden just needs to settle in. He gets the pin. Beautiful pin at home there for Aiden Partridge. Next up, we have Wyatt Parsons from White Mountains against Grant Wenhart from Plymouth. Grant's a 7th grader. He's about 100 pounds. Joined the team last year, and he jumped right into the fire of practices before states, and he held his own, and the coaches are real proud of his progress. Expect a lot of good things out of him as well. He wrestled real tough at the Cardigan tournament. His coaches were super proud of him. Gets a nice snap down there, but he needs to snap him down and go to that front headlock. Another snap down. Wyatt gets his leg there and changes to a double, but he's got a nice crossface there. Wenhart just needs to continue to crossface, and he gets behind and he gets the 2. It was nice that he fought through that position here. If he can turn his opponent but keep his feet in bounds, he can actually secure the pin. Instead, both feet slide out of bounds, and they're going to get a restart here in the middle. It's great to see all these kids out for the middle school program. And again, if your child attends any of the SAU schools here in Plymouth, we encourage you to bring them in and let them participate in the middle school wrestling program. Looks like Wyatt Parsons is injured, and he wanted to stretch a little bit. Taking an injury time. He's going to muster up the courage, though, and step back out on that mat. Parsons will be down for the start of the for the restart here. Grant stuffs the head, sinks in the half, but he's got to break his opponent down before he can sink that half. But he is able to pick up the single leg and bring his opponent back. If he throws a half in now, he needs to put a little more pressure forward, and Parsons was able to escape there just before the buzzer. And the match is 2-1 in favor of Grant Wenhart. He gets the choice. Coaches wisely choose neutral. Indicates to me that Grant's probably pretty decent on his feet rather than going to the mat. A little hand fighting there, working for that inside control. Grabs the wrist and the elbow in what they call the baseball drag, pulls him in perfectly. Just needs to switch off, spin behind here and get the 2. He should have spun behind before going for the half there, and he would have secured his 2 points. But he switches to a double there, gets the 2 points. It's now 4-1. Throws in the power half, and it looks like he's going to turn him here. You can hear his coach instructing him to sink that half deep, which to really run that arm in there and sink that hand on the back of the head like a claw. He isn't quite able to turn him there. Parsons is a little too strong for him. Parsons ends up getting the escape. It's now 4-2. Coaches are going to be encouraging him here to get another takedown. Time expires at the end of the second period, and it's 4-2 in favor of Grant Wenhart over Wyatt Parsons. And looks like Wyatt is going to choose down, hoping to get an escape. He's escaped twice already, so it's a wise choice. Comes up and tries to escape, but Grant wisely goes to that leg, and his coaches were just trying to get him to go to that near side cradle, which I think he could have locked up if he'd have gone to it a little quicker. Parsons gets away. It's now 4-3. Grant immediately takes him to the mat, back down to the mat, and throwing in that power half again and trying to turn his opponent. It's 6-3 with 20 seconds left, and Grant's in great position here. He's got the lead. He just needs to either settle in where he is, turn him, maybe get some near fall. But if he just doesn't give up a reversal and back points, he's going to win this match. Time's going to expire here, and it's a great win for Grant Wenhart over Wyatt Parsons. Final score was 6-3. Great tough match there. Great tough match. Next up, we have Aiden Emmanuelson from ConVal versus Ben Valentes from Plymouth. Ben Valentes is a 6th grader, 110 pounds, second-year wrestler. He's described as one of the tougher kids on the team. Great competitor. If there is a medal or a trophy involved, he wants it. They're really excited about his future in the sport of wrestling. And I'll tell you what, we are at the high school too. Because the first thing you can't teach is tenacity. If that comes naturally, you got it. And as you can see, he goes right to the headlock. He gets the 2 points. He's got near fall here. And I think he's probably going to secure a very early first period pin here. And he does. 38 seconds left. 20 seconds into the mat, and Ben Valenti secures his pin. Again, last year he was a state champ in the 5th and 6th grade division. This year he placed 3rd at the PJ Soares, 2nd at the Cardigan Mountain, and 1st at the Runlet tournament. Next up, we have CJ Tillman from ConVal versus Frankie McLean, a.k.a. Frankie Holeshot McLean, as Frankie also races dirt bikes, and his nickname on the track is Holeshot. He's an 8th grader, 118 pounds, hard worker, one of the best fields for the sport on the team. He's got natural ability, and the coaches expect a whole lot out of him. He has one of the best leg attacks on the team. This year he placed 2nd at Cardigan Mountain and 1st at the Runlet. You can see he's got himself stuck in there underneath on that double leg. He either needs to just bail out of that or knee slide up, get his head to the side, and come out. The ref will probably call a stalemate here if nothing comes of it. You can tell just by looking at both wrestlers their experience. I'm not familiar with CJ Tillman, but I can tell just by his movements on the mat that he's wrestled before. Well, that was a great stalemate there between the two. Neither one given an inch, and it ends the first period 0-0. It looks like ConVal won the toss and is deferred, so Frankie is taken down. Nice little half turn to an attempted stand up there. He continues to slide. He's in good position. Just needs to avoid getting pulled back into some near fall points there. He's got to peel that half off and look away. It's clear that these two are both very experienced wrestlers. Tillman's got a half Nelson sunk in there pretty deep. He continues to try and turn, but Frank's doing a great job fighting it off, but he sucks him back. Not quite enough to get 2 points for the backs, though. Frankie did a good job of fighting off that. He's got about 12 seconds to score a point here and get out. He's almost out. He just needs to knee slide. End of the second period, folks. The score is 0-0. It's a great match, best one of the night. And Tillman chooses down wisely. If he escapes, he scores a point. If he reverses, he gets 2. And Frankie stops his first move, got a great breakdown, going to the 2-on-1. He's going to have to turn him here in order to secure some near fall points to take the lead. And he keeps trying to work in that power half. And he's got it deep. He's trying to run both sides. I think Tillman might get called for stalling if he continues to elbow in on that. He's trying to throw that half from both sides, and Tillman's being pretty stingy about it. He's got it sunk in there. He just needs to reach that underneath and get the cross wrist and pull it under. We got 20 seconds left here. Worst case scenario is to finish on top and go into overtime and take your chances on your feet here. And he's got that half. He's got 10 seconds here to possibly score some near fall. What a great match so far. Arguably the best of the night so far. Both very experienced wrestlers. That's the end of the third period. The score is 0-0. Takedown wins it here. This is going to go into sudden death. This is where you got to dig deep, and you find out who you are as a person, as a wrestler. And this is a dark place to be when you're tired. Tillman shoots in, gets a great double leg, and it looks like he's going to get the 2-point takedown for the overtime win. It's a great match, very evenly match between the two, and it came down to an overtime takedown to win it, and it's 2-0. There's no shame in that. We're going to have Park and Rec kids back out. 6 or 8 matches or so for your enjoyment. High schoolers are rounding them up over there as we speak and pairing them up, and they'll come out on the mat here in a second. We got a lot of folks here tonight, I think because of the Park and Rec kids being here, as well as the middle school. And of course, we have our varsity match tonight with the ConVal Cougars, and everybody's looking forward to it. It's a big night of wrestling in Plymouth. We got 8 matches lined up out there. It looks like pretty evenly matched size-wise. Most kids are at this age are pretty evenly matched. Coaches do a good job of knowing who's a little bit better than who's a little more aggressive than who, and matching them up so that every kid has a good experience out here. And they really look up to these varsity kids too, you know, and the varsity kids love coaching them, and they come in the room, they have a lot of fun. They do a lot of gymnastic-style warm-ups. Teaching a lot of agility and balance and things that are necessary in wrestling and in life in general. Skills that'll last a lifetime, so to say. The other thing wrestling does, it builds good sportsmanship. You know, I mean, when you physically lose to somebody in a fight with rules, it takes a lot of good sportsmanship to get through that. End of the first period. Again, we're doing 30-second periods for the little guys. I see a lot of great matches out there. Kids, I can see them doing moves that they've been taught in the room. A lot of double legs, a lot of half Nelsons, and a lot of kids having fun out there. Again, this is a high-energy sport, and if you got a child at home with a little bit too much energy and you don't know what to do with them, well, I'll tell you what to do with them. You bring them down here on Thursday nights to Randy Cleary and Todd Austin and these varsity boys, and they will get some of that energy out of them in there. I saw a great half Nelson over there on the left with a Turk lift. I mean, that's a really advanced move, and that was fun to watch. Third period now for the little guys. Getting ready to get started here. Nice lat drop over there on the left. I think that's a young man's last name is Campbell. His father was an outstanding wrestler down in Salem High School. New England champion, I believe, or finalist for Salem High School several years back. It's the young man off to the left in the red headgear, and if you watch him, you see that he's had a little more tutoring than most people in the room. That's the end of the third period. That's the second round of K through 4 matchups, and we're going to move you back to the middle school wrestling. And next up, we're going to have Cast Check from ConVal versus Jaden Swirly from White Mountain. Waiting on the ConVal wrestler and the White Mountain wrestler to check in at the table, and they've both checked in and made their way to the center of the mat. And the whistle is blown.
Now wrestling from ConVal.
Jaden Swirly in on the double leg. Throws in a half Nelson almost immediately, and he's running it hard, lifts the near leg. Oh, but what a great stand-up by Cast Check. Another double leg, deep double leg. Gets the takedown. It's now 4-1. Again, he throws in that half. Cast Check's not having it, though. Comes up, stands up, turns into him, reverses. It's now 4-3. A lot of action in this match, folks. A great mat return there by Cast Check. Sursley gets the escape there, and it's now 5-3. 9 seconds left in the first period. A lot of action in that first period there. The match back and forth, takedowns, stand-ups, reversals, takedowns, stand-ups, reversals. End of the first period, and the score is 5-3. I believe Jaden Surley is winning the match. White Mountain, Jaden Surley takes down. Kashchek will be on top. Great, stopped his first move there with a nice little ankle pick. Jaden was able to get the escape though, and he's in on that double leg. He's driving. He's got to clear his head out from underneath. That's a tough position to be in. Top wrestler sprawls on top here and stuffs the head down. He's not gonna give up on it though. Kashchek able to hip down, spin behind, get the 2 for the takedown. Nice sit out, turn in. You got to stick with that. 20 seconds left here in the second period. Out of bounds. He's got to throw that in a little bit earlier and get that near fall on the mat. Back to the center for the restart here. Again, tries that stand up. Kashchek has that ankle pick and stops his first move. He's going for that 2-on-1 on the far side there, and he's trying to pull it in. Bumping into him, trying to flatten him out a little bit. A little attempted roll through by Jaden, unable to get it. End of the second period. I'm not really sure what the score is. The two have been back and forth so much, and I think they've forgotten a few points up there on the board. Kashchek is going to take down here for the third period. He's tripoded up there. He's in on that single leg. He's lifted it, back trip, and he's got the 2-point reversal. Again on that 2-on-1, trying to pull it in. He's got a nice half Nelson there. Just needs to have a little mat awareness of where he is on the mat and not go out of bounds again. He's got that half deep. He's able to turn Surly over. And I think this might just be it right here. He's got 27 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time to secure the fall here. And he does. Well, next up we have Logan Sampson from White Mountain versus Jack Witcher from Plymouth. Jack is a 7th grader. He's 100 pounds. Described by his coach as a super tough kid, one of the strongest kids on the team, pound for pound, hard-working during sprints. As a matter of fact, he often asks for more sprints, which upsets his teammates, and they get mad at him for asking for more sprints. He placed last year at the Novice States. He was 2-0 with 2 pins. He placed second at the PJ Sora Londonderry tournament this year, third at Cardigan, and first at Runlet. And he's in with, the brands. He throws the brands immediately. Takes Sampson to his back. He's driving. He needs to reset that. This will be the second time that Jack has wrestled tonight. We didn't catch the first one. He won that by pin as well. Super looking forward to him at the high school. He's got brands here nice and tight, and I think he's going to secure this first period pin. 2 first period pins tonight for Jack Witcher. It's great to see all these young wrestlers coming up through the program. I can tell you that the high school coaches can't wait to get their hands on some of these kids. Next up, we have Solomon Page from ConVal versus Emmett Nozeman from Plymouth. Emmett's a 7th grader. He's 154 pounds. He's a team leader by example, positive reinforcement to his peers, and he's the hardest worker in the room, described by his coach. He wrestles live every day with his adult coaches because of his size. Last year, he was a New England champion in the 5th and 6th grade division. And this year was first at PJ Sora, first at Runlet, and first at just about everything that he's attended this year. Coaches are super excited to have him come up through the high school. To be a New England champ at the middle school level is pretty exceptional. He's in on the brands there. Again, looks like he's going to secure a first period pin here. He's, again, 7th grade, 154 pounds, and I mean a really athletic 154 pounds to wrestle with 2 adult coaches every day. And he gets the pin there. I wouldn't have expected any less out of our resident New England champion, Emmett Nossman. Next up is Aiden Harden from White Mountain versus Buck Corral from Plymouth. Buck is a 6th grader, 85 pounds, first-year wrestler, super smart kid. He's very tough in all his matches. He goes in, tries to work on his moves. He listens to his coaches, and looks like he gives up the takedown there in the first period. He's trying to fight off that half Nelson. Andrew Harden has it sunk in deep from White Mountain. He's doing a good job of peeling it off and fighting it. Harden in on again on the half on the other side. He's got it deep that time, and it looks like he might be able to turn Corral here in this. And he gets the pin. Tough matchup there for Buck Corral, but like I said, coaches describe him super good kid, smart kid. They're excited to have him in the program, and he's only going to get better from here. Next up, we have Joe Henley versus Anthony Torres. Looks like Torres is going to give up the takedown here. The first period. Anthony's a 6th grader, 70 pounds. Heart and soul of the team, as described by his coaches. The boys really around him. They love to watch him wrestle, and they cheer him on. Excited. The coaches are really excited to see him grow into a tough wrestler. He's very, very dedicated to the sport. Great wrestler from the bottom, and he does a good job of staying active all the time. Never stops moving. This year he placed 3rd at the Runlet tournament. Anthony Torres, expecting a lot out of him in the future. He stands up. Joe Henley from ConVal locked his hands there, which is going to give Anthony a point. The score is now 2-1. Tries to stand up. Henley's in on the ankle. Like the coaches described him in his bio here, he never stops moving. End of the first period, it's 2-1. Joe Henley's in the lead from ConVal over Anthony Torres from Plymouth. Anthony chooses down in the second period. Coaches are encouraging him. He's got to get out. He gets out. He ties the match at 2-2. Again, he's up. Henley's in on that ankle. I can see what ConVal is teaching their wrestlers is to go directly to that ankle. Stop that stand-up move. Anthony's got a little hand control there. He sits. He's still moving. He stands up. And he turns. I think he may get the escape here. A little knee slide here. Pop his head out. Henley's able to secure the top position there and get back behind. 21 seconds here. Trying to get an escape point or even a 2-point reversal going into the third period with a tie or a lead. The third period is going to expire here, and we're going to go into the third period with Henley from ConVal leading Torres 2-1. Time to dig deep here, and his coaches are encouraging him to work hard and finish this match. Henley chooses down. It's his choice in the third. The coaches just told Torres to give up, let him stand up and get the escape point, go back to their feet. However, Torres gives up the takedown almost immediately, and Henley's in and now has Anthony to his back. He's fighting for his life here. No short of fight out of Torres. He's a tough kid. Gives up the pin there, but it's not inducive of the match. Great wrestler, tough kid. Coaches love him a lot. And like I said earlier, they described him, and this is from the coaches, that he's the heart and soul of this team. Next up, we have Lance Labens from White Mountain versus Blaine Hiltz from Plymouth. Blaine gets the headlock right off the bat, keeps his feet in bounds. He might get a first period pin here. Blaine's a sixth grader, 75 pounds, second-year wrestler. His father used to wrestle for the high school. His coaches describe him as a great kid and a hard worker in practice. No matter the pain he's feeling, at times they say he fights through it. They hope to see him get stronger in the future. He had a good win versus Mascoma this year. He also won a match by ConVal, first ever, 2 weekends ago at the Runlet tournament. Still in the first period here with 20 seconds left. He's going for that near side cradle. It looks like he's got it locked up. He's just got to sit and not drive his opponent off the mat there. He's trying to pull him back in, but he gives up the escape there. Throws the brands. Got to secure the chin with that right hand when he does that. End of the first period here. And Blaine Hiltz is in the lead 3-1. Nice snap down there. Got to get his legs back. He's got the chin. Throws the brands. Looks like he's going to turn Labens here. He's got to hook that underneath that arm. Instead, he spins behind, gets his 2 points. Throws in a half Nelson almost immediately. He's picking up that near side ankle. Nice job so far by Blaine. I think at this point a complete domination of the match. He's winning 7-1. Sinks that half in deep. Unfortunately, he had the left hand arm in on the half, then he bring the right hand through, and that's an illegal full Nelson. He's going to give Lance Labens a point for that, which brings the score to 7-2. Got 10 seconds left in the second period here. We're going to find the end of the second period. Brings us to the third. The score is 7-2. Blaine Hiltz is in the lead over Lance Labens from White Mountain. Blaine chooses the down position. Nice stand up, turns in, gets the single leg, changes to a double. He's going to get the 2-point reversal. Coaches are hoping for a near fall here. It looks like he might get a few near fall points. I see the ref counting him off here. If he can stay where he is, he might get the pin. He's in great position here. 35 seconds left. He just needs to stay where he is. He switches off and catches the arm there. And they're going to call him out of bounds. Bring him back to the center for the restart. 23 seconds left in the match. And again, Blaine Hiltz dominating this match over Lance Labens. Scores now 12-2. He's got the 2-on-1 there with the wrist. Impressed with Lance Labens, though. He's been on his back most of this match, and he's no short of fight. He's not going quietly into the night, as they say. He's going to make him earn it, but Blaine's got a nice deep half in there. Time expires, but again, complete domination of that match. The score ends up 15-2, a major decision for Lance Hiltz. Next up, we have John Henley from ConVal versus Victor Willie from White Mountains. Start of the first period. Henley is able to get behind, bring Willie to the mat for his 2 points. And try and sink in a half Nelson here and turn him to his back. He's got the half in there. He's kind of reinforcing it there in a power half, and he's able to sink it pretty deep. Turn the opponent to his back here, and he might end up with the pin. And he gets the pin. John Henley from ConVal over Victor Willie of White Mountain. Next up, we have Alden Willie from White Mountains versus Grant Wenhart from Plymouth. I believe this is Grant's second match tonight. 7th grader, again, 100 pounds. Hard worker. Coaches like him. They expect a lot of great things out of him.
Now wrestling from White Mountains, Alden Willie. And from Plymouth, Grant Wenhart.
Fighting for hand control here. Wenhart goes in, kind of reaches for the knee. Tries a baseball grip drag, as they call it. Unsuccessful. Great movement on the mat. Both wrestlers circling. Good stances, good position, trying to get an angle on their opponent here. 19 seconds left in the first. A nice shot there by Aiden Willie. He's in deep. Grant gets the brands though, and he should shuck him by and get his 2 points. You hear the coach yelling for him to get behind him. He's not going to get any points out of this, although he was in a superior position on the mat. He didn't get behind to get his 2 points. He was, really trying to turn his opponent. Going to the second period, we get choice. Plymouth gets choice. They defer. Willie from White Mountain chooses top. Nope, they're going to correct that. I thought he chose down the down position. Stuffs the head there to try and throw in that half Nelson. Needs to get to the side before he can run it. He's got him broken down. Again, stuffs the head. Throws in a half. He actually has it in pretty deep. Reinforces it. Looks like he's going to turn Willie from White Mountains here. He's getting back points. The referee is counting the near fall. He needs to sink and settle in here, and he's going to get the pin. Big win, as you can hear by the crowd over there and his coaches, his teammates. Great win for Grant Wenhart. Next up, we have Wyatt Parsons from White Mountain versus Ben Valente from Plymouth. Second match for Ben tonight. Secured a first period pin in the last match pretty easily. Again, one of our more experienced middle school wrestlers. Super tenacious, hard worker, great work ethic. Loves the sport. Coaches love him. High school coaches can't wait to get him. First period. Here we go. Valente with the tie up, working inside control. Snaps him down, spins, locks up the near side cradle, runs him over. Got to be careful, know where he is on the mat. No points awarded there because he ran him out of bounds. Oh, nice double leg. Gets the 2 takedown, throws in a power half almost immediately. He's got Wyatt Parsons on his back. Again, I expect with 30 seconds left here, that Valente's going to get another first period pin. Outstanding. Next up, we have Logan Sampson from White Mountain versus Aiden Partridge from Plymouth. Aiden's second match. Great kid, comes from a great family. He's got the attitude, he's got the build, the strength, the speed. It's a great sport for him. So potentially dangerous there. I'm not really sure what the ref called, but he awarded the White Mountain wrestler Logan Sampson a point there, and I'm not sure if Aiden had a headgear, grabbed a headgear, or what he did, but a little hand control there. Boom. It was a sloppy shot by Logan Sampson, and Aiden was able to run him right into near fall position. Needs to walk his legs out a little bit more towards the head. He's in good position, 30 seconds left. Hard to fight off your back, and it gets the pin. I believe that's the second pin tonight for Aiden Partridge. The next match, Jaden Zerley from White Mountain versus Frankie Holeshot McLean from Plymouth. Frankie lost his first match in a real hard-fought battle with another very experienced wrestler. Overtime loss, great match. Let's see if he can't get back on track here with a win. Both wrestlers circle in the middle. A little fake shot there by Surly. Frankie's got a good sprawl. He's got the underhook. Just needs to stuff the head there. Yep, stuffing the head. Coaches are telling, runs, hooks up the brands. Runs him over. Gets the 2 points. Going to take him right to his back for near fall. 35 seconds left in the first. Again, first period pin here. As you can see, folks, the middle school program here is outstanding. These two young coaches we have are fantastic, and what they've done with these young men in short order is nothing short of impressive. Last year they coached our first New England champ. Next up, we have Dom Ciotti from Plymouth versus Evan England from Plymouth. This is going to be a Plymouth on Plymouth match. Looks like Ciotti's in on that front head. Both wrestlers are good wrestlers. They're happy to have them in the room. Both hard workers. Ciotti gets the quick first period pin there over England. Both kids new to the sport, and the coaches are super excited. Young Ciotti has two older brothers that wrestle for the high school, and both wrestlers that we can't wait to see them progress up through. That's going to wrap up our middle school match tonight, and that brings that to a close. As you can see, a lot of great wrestling, quality wrestling, a lot of quality instruction going on down there at the middle school level. And again, if you have a child in the SAU 48 and you want to wrestle for the middle school, we encourage it.